Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second workshop of the AI Foundations program. Last week, we had an introduction to AI with Šarūnas Dignaitis, and
Hello, everyone.
today we are diving further into the world of large language models. Our expert, Ieva Kiliuvienė, is here to share her expertise and provide actionable tips to help you leverage these tools effectively. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Ieva. Ieva, the stage is yours.
Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. It is very nice to have the opportunity to meet with you today, Women Go Tech community, which amaze me with its unity, of course, technological curiosity, and such a great engagement. Of course, last week with Šarūnas, you dove into the world of artificial intelligence, learning about its basic concepts, and applications. And today, my goal will be to introduce you to artificial intelligence even more broadly, focusing specifically on large language models and the art of prompt engineering. So we will explore how to effectively communicate with AI models. Of course, how to learn practical skills that you can immediately put to use. But before starting, I want to introduce myself, who will be spending an hour and a half with you today. So like you can see, my name is Ieva, and I have been working in the human resources field for almost 8 years now. Oh my gosh, time flies. Where I help companies find the best ways to manage their employees and create better work environments. In addition, for the past 2 years, I've been consulting on applying artificial intelligence solutions in business, particularly showing companies how AI can make their work easier and more effective. And I also haven't given up my other passion, which is health psychology, or more specifically, psychopathology and the research work in the field of dementia. So this research help us better understand how memory problems affect older people and find ways to help them and their families. Now that I've introduced myself, let's dive into our topic. So, artificial intelligence, AI, prompt engineering, large language models, and other similar terms have been part of our daily lives for some time now, I guess. And I think that part of our daily lives, that's probably too mild as a phrase. And I think it is fair to say that they're everywhere we look and listen. Yeah. For example, from smartphones, social media to online shopping and streaming services, AI has become deeply woven in our everyday experience. Am I right? However, this topic is popular for a good reason because the rise of modern artificial intelligence is the biggest tech breakthrough of our time, changing how we work, how we communicate, and of course, solve problems. So, my main goal today is to show you how we can use AI in our work in a daily life in practical and meaningful ways. So we will talk about both the good side of the AI and of course the bad side of the AI. Why? Because it is kind of important to understand its strength and of course limitations. But before we start, let's clarify what we mean by artificial intelligence. Yeah. So we will discuss AI that until recently mostly meant machine learning and making predictions based on data patterns. Before that, it was just a traditional computer programming with fixed rules and responses. Yep. So, traditional programming means that a programmer writes an algorithm that
Sorry,
defines
Eva.
rules. Yep.
Sorry to interrupt, but we don't see your slides if you're showing.
Really? It got stuck?
Probably, yeah.
Which one you can see at this moment?
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try again. Okay, let's try one more time. How about now?
Not yet. Now we can see it. But
Really?
yeah,
Okay, thanks God.
the live workshop without disturbances is not a live workshop. So
Yeah,
everything's fine.
yeah. So how about now? Everything is okay? You can see the
Yes, yes,
content?
it's great.
Okay, thank you. So let's continue. So traditional programming, yeah? Let's come back to our topic. It means that a programmer writes an algorithm, yeah, that defines rules for how a computer should perform a task. Yeah. So, for example, I tell the computer if the user enters the number 5, output should be the word 5. If they enter the number 7, output should be the word 7, and so on and so on. So all steps must be clearly described in the code. So let's jazz it up a bit. Imagine that I am traditional programming. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but just imagine. So, I am traditional programming and I am planning your vacation. What would I do? So, I would open the programmer's code and see that it has a function written. If the user has been to mainland Spain after 10 months, send them an email with a travel offer to Tenerife. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Now imagine if you get this offer, for example, in November when the weather around you is gloomy and rainy, not so nice. Then it might be quite tempting. However, this is still just a guess because it doesn't take into account the current situation at all. Yeah, maybe this year you don't want to travel anywhere. Maybe you want to spend autumn cozily wrapped in a blanket, reading your favorite book. This is just a guess. Machine learning means that we give the computer many examples and it learns to recognize patterns on its own. For example, we show many pictures of cats and dogs, and over a long processing period, the computer will learn to tell a cat from a dog. even if it hasn't seen that specific picture before, yeah? It doesn't need detailed rules. The computer will find the differences itself. So I guess we can jazz it up once more. So imagine that I am machine learning and I am planning your vacation. So what would I do this time? Particularly, I'm gonna watch your behavior online, yeah? And I would notice that for the past 2 weeks, you spent a lot of time on YouTube watching various videos about planning routes in the warm places, also looking at the best places to eat, and so on. Also, in the past 2 weeks, you spent a lot of time in online stores, choosing dresses or swimsuits, yeah? And seeing your recent activities, I would think you miss the warm weather. So in this case, I would suggest a trip to Tenerife. However, this would still be just a guess, but this time based on your online activity, yeah? Artificial intelligence means systems that can do tasks usually done only by human. For example, driving a car, understanding natural language, having a meaningful conversation, yeah, and so on. So it often involves both programming rules and machine learning abilities. So using AI, I could build more complete picture of you. So for example, when planning your vacation, I would notice that you spend a lot of time on YouTube, for example, yeah, watching videos about planning, the best restaurants in those areas. I would see that you are choosing dresses and swimsuits, but I would also notice and not ignore this information that in the past 2 weeks, you've been searching on Google for things like how to recognize signs of burnout. Why don't I want to go to work every morning? Why I am so sad all the time? Yeah. And I would understand that you are tired, not finding, for example, joy in your usual activities and just looking for an escape. So then, instead of just suggesting a vacation, I might suggest considering help from a psychologist, yeah? Because I understand the core problem. I would realize that a person feels so bad that they are looking just for an escape and hoping that a vacation will solve their serious burnout situation. However, I think we know that this probably won't help, yeah? So, in a long story short, traditional programming, very precise and defined. Machine learning allows the computer to learn on its own, not always understanding how it learned. Artificial intelligence not only learns, yeah, but it also thinks, yeah, also thinks to reach a human-like level. I guess you are probably curious about the date of 2017 is mentioned here. So it was 2017 when that big breakthrough happened. So when Google Fox sat down and wrote an amazing paper, which is called Attention is All You Need, yeah? And it proposed a new way to create artificial intelligence that would be very good at working with human language. So these models use process called transformers and attention mechanisms. And the result of this is what we call now large language models or LLMs. So now, when we talk about artificial intelligence, we often mean these large language models. Examples include ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, Anthropic Claude, and others. At the same time, new tools appeared that were very good at creating, for example, art. Midjourney, Copilot, Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, video content, Runaway, Flicky, Wonder AI, DID, and of course others creative works including audio transformations like Soundful, Boomy, Ampere Music, 11 Labs, and so on. And we call all of this together large language models plus tools capable of creating new content, generative artificial intelligence or generative AI. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, we usually mean this generative AI that can create new content. I guess it is helpful to explain a bit about how large language models work, because this will help us better understand their advantages and, of course, disadvantages. Basically, all AI models are based on prediction. They are trying to guess what will come next. Yeah, large language models are a bit different in that they predict which word or a part of the word will be used in a sentence structure. Yeah, and they are trained this way. So all the information from the internet, billions of documents is loaded into them, yeah? And over a long processing time, they create a language model. So they find patterns between different words, which words are closely related. For example, fox and dog, or banana and papaya, yeah? So these patterns include not just simple word connections, but multiple layers of meaning and relationships that we can fully understand. And it's like they've learned from reading like millions of books and conversations, understanding how people use language and express ideas. And based on all this knowledge, AI models try to predict which word will come next in any sentence. So if you say, I like using artificial intelligence because it is very good, then they will try to guess the next word after that. Maybe at predicting, maybe in the HR field, maybe finding patterns, and so on. So they will keep trying to guess the next word and present it. It's like an extremely complex autocomplete on steroids. Yeah, so imagine your phone text prediction feature. Yeah, but of course much more powerful and intelligent. So instead of just suggesting simple words, it can understand context and generate meaningful, relevant content. Okay, let's move on. So the jobs and skills that artificial intelligence affect most are probably not the ones we thought it would earlier, because in the early days of AI, before large language models, we talked about AI automating hard, repetitive, dangerous jobs like driving, mining a coal, and so on. But newer studies have shown that AI actually affects higher paying jobs requiring higher education and more creative freedom the most. For example, it is now helping lawyers analyze documents, assisting doctors with diagnosis, and supporting marketing professionals in content creation, for example. So generally, the more you earn, the more educated you are, and the more creative freedom you have in your job, the more generative AI will affect your work. But it is important to know that this doesn't mean it will replace you in your job, yeah, but it will certainly have a big impact. So changing how you work and requiring you to learn new skills to work effectively alongside AI tools. There are many different ethical concerns about artificial intelligence. Some of them will definitely decrease over time, but others definitely will increase. So I want to highlight a few of them. First, these models are trained using the entire internet. We already know that, am I right? So there are many copyright issues. For example, you can directly get copyrighted content from AI. If you ask AI to provide the first paragraph of a famous novel, AI will almost certainly not do so correctly. You can't directly ask for someone's data and get it from AI, yeah? But it is trained using all of this information. And this raises concerns because, for example, new texts are created with writing style scanning. For example, this is a Lithuanian author, Vincas Mykolaitis Putinas, and we know that his work is characterized by deep and dramatic lyrism arising from everyday contradictions, a very unique, specific creative nuance that would be very difficult for other authors to replicate. AI, in this case, can do it like this, very smoothly. So in written work, this isn't as sensitive, but for example, for visual artists, it's a different story. Just imagine you have a friend named John, yeah? And he's a wonderful painter, yeah? And as a modern person, of course, he has an online store where he posted visuals of his paintings. So in this case, AI can scan John's entire creative style and generate a new image in a moment. So we could download this in high quality, hang it on our wall, and of course, directly take away the author's livelihood. Yeah. So although AI won't share specific intellectual property, there remains a very thin line regarding copyright and fair use, which basically are still being resolved in courts and discussions. Also, since these models are trained using everything on the internet, yeah, they show human biases and additional biases built in during their training. For example, if I input depict an enterprise creator into an image creation tool, for example, Midjourney, yeah, the results are more likely to show men than women, reflecting on society biases and, of course, training methods. So, after a long introduction, it's time to talk about the main large language models, how they work, how to use them, and we will look at what each model is best for. You know, there are many different artificial intelligence tools available today. And if you follow Twitter, now it's called X, or LinkedIn, you're going to see thousands of new ones appearing every day. And I think that it can feel kind of overwhelming to keep track of all of these new tools and updates, yeah? However, this is really important. What we really need to know is about 3 plus 1 to maintain a little bit suspense. I'll keep it quiet for it now. So 3 plus 1 main large language models that form the foundation of most AI tools we use today. So these models are the core technology behind many of the AI applications you might have heard about or used yourself. Yep. So today we will talk about ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini, and plus one, but I'm gonna keep it a little bit in a secret, because almost all newly created artificial intelligence tools simply work on top of these three main models or use them. Of course, they are not the only ones, just the most easily accessible, and I think that capable at the moment. When we're talking about large language models, we often think about OpenAI's ChatGPT, am I right? So currently, there are just say two main ChatGPT versions: 4.0, which is free now, and 4, a paid version costing about $25 per month. So both 4 and 4.0 versions can access the internet using Bing integration and currently have updated information based on data collected up to October 2023. Yeah. So what does it mean that answers are based on data up to October 2023? If you ask ChatGPT about something that happened after October 2023, it won't be able to answer because it doesn't have this information. Of course, I have to mention that since the models are connected to the internet, yeah, it might try to find facts, but as it's not trained on this found information, it would act more like a Google than an analytical tool that analyzes collected data. Also, this immediately increases the chance of hallucinations. So always check the facts you receive. So let's come back. There are two models, GPT-4 and GPT-4o. So GPT-4o, the free model, is very fast. It's very fast, but slightly less powerful than version 4. So if I say something like, write a job ad for an IT project manager, it will do it very quickly. Yeah, you can see the text just running away. Not bad, right? Let's move on to the more powerful GPT-4 model. So we will use the basic GPT-4 version, but there are versions with added tools like the ability to create code. So we write to ChatGPT the same prompt, write me a job ad for an IT project manager. And we notice, just take a look, that the model is slower. The text runs, and gets stuck, runs again, gets stuck again. But the text, the output, is more sophisticated. It also writes content in Lithuanian, Latvian, Estonian, and Polish better than the 4.0 version. Of course, using ChatGPT, you can clear and start a conversation again. You can also recreate if you want. There's a regenerate button you can use. And you can also stop the creation if the answer isn't what you expected. You can also edit your query. So here I said, write a job ad for an IT project manager. And I can say, write a job ad for an IT project manager who has 3 years of experience and works with Agile Scrum. and this will actually change the answer. So now I have a second answer, and this allows me to improve the prompt, which we'll talk about more a little bit later. Of course, the interface is, constantly updated, so your experience might be slightly different. It is great that ChatGPT 4 version now has the ability to create visual content, process full documents, provide detailed analytics. You can also create your own conversational assistant, or popularly called an agent, which will help you in specific areas. I know that Sharunas will teach you how to create your personal assistant during, I think, next session. So, in my opinion, this is a great tool because from now on, you can create your own individual model tailored just for you. Also, if your created assistant is really good, is purposeful, OpenAI is ready to pay for you. Yeah. So it's quite a good deal. But let's stop here. The 4.0 model that appeared in the spring blew minds because the free version became extremely generous to users. The 4.0 model, you have to know that is multimodal. What does it mean? It can analyze photos, video content, it can analyze speech. The speech is very natural, full of emotions. We can communicate in a real-time video format, which is great. Also, you can try, I don't know, opening ChatGPT, for example, in the mobile app, and by clicking on the headphones icon, talk to ChatGPT. It's even have dialects, can meow like a cat or bark like a dog. Of course, OpenAI's releases this functionality in stages, so there is a little small chance that not everyone has this feature enabled yet. But by connecting, for example, through VPN in the USA region, you can definitely try it out. Free users finally got access, like I said before, to the GPT agents I praised so much. You can access and use them. You can only create them in a paid version. So here we can see how I choose the delete agent, which is designed for visual generation. And I am asking to create an airplane. And this is just one example. You can look for marketing, sales, design, psychology, recipe assistance, and try them completely free of charge. Working with files in the free version, This feature also came to you, and this functionality is incredibly high quality. It is a great help for productivity because we can work directly with documents by uploading them to the model and, for example, by asking for text summary. And I think that perhaps you have a question arises. So is it worth continuing to have a paid GPT version? So my answer is yes and no. Because before, the free ChatGPT version was very limited. Now it seems that all plus version capabilities will be in the free one too. But there is a but. What OpenAI is playing at is that paying users will get 5 times more queries or prompts. So all the free goodies are limited to a very small number of prompts because it is doubtful whether OpenAI can afford to give away all the advantages of the 4th version and more, and expect nothing in return. So in this case, they'll give a taste of a candy because they know that people will like it and want more. So I think that's kind of excellent marketing. Also, really important stuff. In the paid version, you can access the new O1 model, which is already at a different, much higher level. Although it's much slower, but it's significantly more powerful. And why is he so good? It's much better at subjects like math, programming, science questions, logical explanations, yeah? So currently in the paid version, we get about 30, I guess, yeah, 30 queries per week to try the model because it is still on beta version. However, it is very promising. Okay, so let's move on to another model, and we're gonna talk about Copilot. And I will tell you a secret. The easiest way to access the GPT-4 version, yeah, without paying $25 per month is by using Microsoft Copilot. And I tell you an interesting story about why this is so. So previously, Copilot was called Bing, yeah? And if you used ChatGPT before and did internet searches, you must have seen that ChatGPT showing a spinning wheel with the text search on Bing or like searching on Bing, something like that. So OpenAI and Microsoft had like a natural exchange. Microsoft gave OpenAI the internet search engine and photo generation with DALL-E, and in exchange, OpenAI gave the power of their strongest model, GPT-4. So let's come back. Copilot has three different modes. You can choose the precise mode, balance mode, and creative mode. Yeah. So Copilot constantly improving each mode, but currently the creative and precise modes use ChatGPT for the most powerful model, while balance mode doesn't. So I'd usually recommend using these in practice. All the examples I'll show soon were generated with a creative mode. So we know that Copilot's biggest advantage over other models is that it not only uses ChatGPT-4 power, but is also connected to the internet. Also, it can create images in the free version. So I think that Copilot's biggest benefit is that its free version covers many of ChatGPT's paid version features. And I think that this is kind of big of a deal and a big and very important difference for users. Also, it is important to mention that as we know, Copilot is a Microsoft product, am I right? So if you use Microsoft 365 in your organizations, you can get Copilot integrated into your work tools. Just imagine if your desktop is as loaded with documents as mine. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. You can scan documents and ask Copilot to suggest which folders to sort them into, for example, SharePoint or OneDrive. Not bad. I think that that's quite a good feature. All your work documents can be used with AI capabilities. You can work directly with them, prepare summaries, create slides, transcribe Teams conversations, and so on and so on. So the other thing is you're probably worried about safety, yeah? So thankfully that Microsoft has released a package for organizations. It's called Microsoft for Enterprise. And that ensures data security. And that's what they said to us. But when defining security, let's evaluate it carefully, yeah? Microsoft and all others, LLMs like OpenAI's or Gemini, yeah, the main data centers are in the USA. So they follow American data protection regulations. And we know that Europe is much stricter on data protection. So I still recommend not uploading sensitive data to AI tools. Okay, so let's try the same prompt. Write a job ad for an IT project manager. Okay, as you can see, we now observe that there are only up to 5 queries at a time. This number changes constantly, and yesterday I saw it jump to 30, today it's 5 again. So it is important to mention that this number reflects that a conversation with Copilot has 5 turns, after which it ends and starts a new one, which again has 5 turns. A turn is one question or request. Copilot will also provide suggested responses, which we see below the generated text. For example, what are some common interview questions for IT project managers? How do I prepare resume for an IT project manager position? Yeah, so in many cases, these suggestions are quite good. Sometimes they may not be as good, so you have to just decide whether you want to follow its path or your own after each query. To start a new topic, use the New Topic button. Copilot, alongside with the Enterprise package, provides the ability to perform organizational data analytics. So you just need to copy your anonymized, remember that, anonymized Excel data and upload it to Copilot and submit a calculation query. For those who aren't Excel gurus, it is really useful function. However, be vigilant because so far all tools make significant mistakes in data analytics. And I'm going to tell you why. Just listen. Large language models, yeah, not large data models. So this is our answer. Let's move on to another model, which is called the Gemini. So you're probably heard of a large language model called BART. If not, no wonder, because its capabilities were really weak. But Google stepped up and entered the LLM battles and rebranding BART, which become much more powerful and now is called Gemini. So Gemini has become a good competitor to OpenAI's ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot. So currently there are 2 Gemini versions. Gemini, which is based on the Gemini Pro model and is free, and Gemini Advanced, which currently costs about 20 I guess this is the same amount of money, about $20 per month, and is based on completely different, more powerful model called Ultra. By the way, you can try it for free for about 2 months. Also, the free version of Gemini, like the free version of Copilot, has access to the internet and just listen, can access today's facts. Today's facts. In this case, we know that ChatGPT is trained on data only up to October 2023, yeah? So in the free Gemini version, you can have also conversations as long as you want. Also, we know that Copilot has 5 turns for one topic, and you can also upload photos. and ask what is depicted in them. But keep it in mind that when I was filming this content, Gemini had problems recognizing people, likely to change in the future. So let's try to create an IT project manager job ad using Gemini. First of all, Gemini is slightly different from the previously discussed models, which are both based on the OpenAI's model. So they look like user interface look really similar. Meanwhile, Gemini's user interface is somewhat a little bit different. So if we say, write a job ad for an IT project manager to Gemini, we'll get the entire answer almost immediately. Not a principle of long-running text, yeah? And usually the answer will be much faster than other models, although, again, it depends on the circumstances. And there are a few differences here. I want to stop it right here. Yeah, so one aspect is that I can review other drafts. It provides 3 different versions, and whichever version I choose, that version will be used in the future conversations. Yeah, so if you don't like the drafts, you can regenerate them until you get an acceptable version. Okay, move on. You can also listen to a very pleasant voice that will read generated text to you. It's still paused? No, everything is okay. Yeah. And another useful Gemini functionality that helps avoid hallucination is this button. I'm gonna stop it right here. Okay, right here, like a G letter. Yeah. When pressed, it checks if the provided information is valid. And this option is especially useful when you're searching for certain data or sources and want to avoid false information. So as you can see, I'm gonna press the button. Okay, just give him a second. Here, so as you can see, areas highlighted in orange are places that Google suggests checking and verifying their validity. So Gemini has also other interesting options. I'm gonna show you in a moment. So here, PMP certification, and right here, this button. We can, export our documents, but that's not it. This button, for example, you can shorten your text, lengthen it, make it more casual or more professional, and you no need to write new prompts separately and specify what style of results you expect. Very useful and time-saving functionality. So sorry that the text is in Lithuanian. It's just that the Gemini login is linked to Gmail, which reads the location and automatically selects the application language based on where in the world you are. Okay, however, the part I like the most is that Google Gemini has very useful and relevant extensions. So I see that it got stuck. I'm gonna help a little bit. Yeah, okay. Here we go. So we can have interfaces with YouTube content, Google Maps, Google Flights, Google Hotels, and Workspace. And there, the possibilities are even broader. from creating and sending emails from your mailbox, direct flights and free hotel room selection on dates convincing for you, to discovering and transcribing YouTube content. So to make it easier to understand the possibilities of extensions, I'll demonstrate one of them. So in this case, you can see that I'm writing a prompt, provide YouTube videos that would share the latest information about AI news. And here, Gemini is searching for YouTube videos based on my prompt. Yeah, so here we go. But that's not all. In this case, for example, I don't have time to watch the video, yeah? So I wanted to give me the main points. So here I'm gonna write, share the summary of the first video. And this is where the magic happens. Gemini goes into the YouTube video and extract the information we need, yeah? Imagine you have a favorite podcast that's longer than an hour and you just don't have time to listen to it. This is where Gemini will help you and provide a summary, an excellent time-saving use case. So, summarizing the last three large language models, and if we were talking only about the capabilities of a free version, yeah, I probably recommend choosing Gemini. But this is just my opinion because it has perhaps the most in terms of both many metrics and additional functionalities. Of course, when all promise GPT-4o functions are finally released in the free version, then I will probably lean towards ChatGPT. But still, in general, I invite you to use all of them because the more models you use for the same prompt, the more critically you can evaluate the information, yeah, and get a broader context and of course refine the best answer. And now it's time to talk about the cherry on the cake, Anthropic Claude. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you another secret. Anthropic Claude is my absolute favorite. Why? I like to use a metaphor to explain this. Um, just imagine you met someone 2 years ago, yeah, who become very close, a really good friend. So that's ChatGPT for me, yeah. Now remember your sandbox or school desk friend with whom you still communicate today. It seems sometimes they can understand you with just a look, yeah? Just a look. You need far fewer words. And that's Anthropic Claude. So long story short, in a technical way, when we're using this LLM, you need much less contextual information because it understands you better. And this is not happening for no reason. Cloud models' capabilities, according to many metrics, are truly impressive. You can see that. Also, a month ago, Claude has added a new feature. It's called projects. And this is a big improvement. With projects, you can create new projects, add your own information, make special rules for each chat, invite your team members to work together. Now, people who pay for Claude, yeah, you have to pay for that, can put their chats into projects. And each project can hold as much text as a 500-page book. And this is equivalent of ChatGPT agents, just at a significantly higher level, yeah? So projects lets you to use your own information with Claude. For example, you can add writing guides, computer code, interview notes, your old work, and so on. So this is gonna help Claude give better help because it knows more about your specific problem. I will tell you more about it soon, as we will as how to talk to these models, yeah. But before that, let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages, and there are many nuances here. So, artificial intelligence, we know, is very good at human tasks, yeah. It can create excellent texts and analyze them. Creative tasks are a piece of a cake, yeah, for it. It can create the most unbelievable work of art. Also, it handles programming and data processing excellently and summarizes results very well. However, if you use ChatGPT 4 to ask for any information up to October 2023, when it was trained, it will provide incorrect or made up answers. So you need to understand what tools and capabilities each LLM has and use that to your advantage, because each of them works in a slightly different principle, yeah? So just like getting to know people and their competences, it requires more communication with them. The same goes for artificial intelligence tools. You need to interact with them as much as possible. However, artificial intelligence also has problems. So the first problem is that AI can create incorrect assumptions or even facts. In other words, hallucination. So this means it can provide convincing answers that sounds extremely logical, but there is no real content there, yeah? So it is very important that we, as the users, critically evaluate all the content it provides and, of course, make our own decisions. At the same time, there's somewhat contradictory idea that doesn't view hallucinations only from the negative sides. And listen me out. It states that basically model hallucinations are not just a bad thing, because that's exactly what we ask for when we wanted to be creative. So it's not really worth wanting to remove hallucinations too strongly. What we want LLMs to be creative, of course, but we don't want them to create facts. And that's a fact. The second problem is that artificial intelligence doesn't always answer the same prompt in the same way. It can change its answers any day. And because the systems change so quickly, there can be a radical differences, yeah? So here we go. I'm gonna write. What are the three KPIs? KPIs stand for key performance indicators. So there are measurable values that show how effectively, for example, a company, employee, or project is achieving key business objectives. So here we go. We have employee turnover rate, yeah, time to fill, employee engagement score. Okay, got it. But let's regenerate. Time to fill, okay, the same one. Employee turnover rate, the same one, and employee engagement score. Okay, let's try another time. Time to fill, employee turnover rate, cost per hire. Okay, this is a new one. And as you can see, we keep getting a little bit different answers. Why is this important? And if we are young professionals, yeah, we can certainly get confused. So it is very important not blindly trust the answers, especially if we are not experts in the field we are asking questions about. So always ask for references, check sources, consult with mentors, and only then use the generated content, because we will only have more hallucinations in the future, because models are constantly being trained with new information. And a very large part of that new information has already been generated by AI, which is false. So this is like never-ending wheel. So I guess that the third point is a kind of a summary of everything we talked about. You have to walk that fine line between artificial intelligence being incredibly powerful, but at the same time, not magical. So it can't do everything and doesn't perform everything equally well. So if you say it is Warren Buffett, it won't give you amazing investment advice, although it might seem like it's giving amazing advice. So if you say it is Calvin Harris, it might not be able to write a song as good as Calvin Harris can. And if you tell it to be, for example, Steve Jobs and evaluate your business plan, it won't really recreate Steve Jobs. So we have to realize that it's deceiving us a bit, seemingly creating great content, but some of it isn't as good as it appears. And it is very important to understand the strength and the weaknesses. So my advice is to use artificial intelligence. Yeah, you need to use these systems enough to understand how they work, where they work, and where they don't. Okay, so let's move on. In this part, we will talk about how to submit queries, or in the other words, prompts, yeah? And how to tell artificial intelligence exactly what you want and how to do it effectively. So prompt engineering involves designing the best prompt you can to get the output you want. Think about how you use language in your daily life. So language is used for so many purposes, yeah? To build connections, express opinions, explain ideas. For example, when you ask a friend for restaurant recommendations, you might say, for example, I want a cozy place with a good pasta, rather than just where should I eat? Yeah? So, and sometimes you might want to use language to prompt others to respond in a particular way. Maybe you want someone to give you a detailed recommendation or clarify something specific. So, in those cases, the way you phrase your words can affect how others respond. So, the same is true when prompting a conversation with AI tools, with a question or request. So, just like with humans, being clear and specific helps you helps you get better results. So in a short way, a prompt is a text input that provides instructions to the AI model on how to generate output. It's like giving directions to someone. The clearer your instructions, the better the result you'll get. So today I'm going to challenge you a bit. I'll provide an example that probably won't be relevant to many of you, but I'm doing this purposely. In my training experience, when I give easy elementary examples, everyone understands them. but when it comes to applying them in a practice with harder tasks, yeah, that's when confusion arrives. So our goal today is to understand the technique of creating queries, the technique. So not the examples, but technique. So when you know the technique, everything becomes much clearer. So let's start with an example. Let's say we want AI to create a job ad for an IT project manager for us, yeah? So always start the task sentence with an action verb. For example, create, generate, give, write, analyze, and so on. So it seems very simple and clear, yeah? So I wrote to the LLM what I want, and I will get a result. So let's see how it turns out. Here we go. So as we can see, we got a fairly good job posting. It has the main parts: role summary, key responsibilities, qualifications, skills, also why join us part. But is that really enough for us? Yeah. Imagine that your boss gives you this task. Yeah. You know that you will be looking for a new colleague for your organization. You know your organization name, am I right? So also you know what salary you can offer to the new joining colleague. You know what exact competences and skills the new colleague should have. So look at the results again and think if it's really suitable for you, with your contextual information that was left unsaid. I guess it is not. So the first thing to remember when creating a quality prompt is crucial to provide context about who the AI is supposed to be. So this gives the AI an appropriate starting point and helps it better understand the specific situation and requirements. So by clearly defining the AI's role and giving its clearer picture of what you need, you are more likely to get accurate, relevant, and tailored responses. So this approach not only improves the overall quality of the interaction, but also significantly saves your time on potential corrections. For example, say, create a job ad for an IT project manager. The organization looking for an employee is GSC Invertus. We already know most large language models are connected to the internet. So by providing clear context, they do a lot of work for us. For example, this information about organization called Invertus will already be found and added to the About Organization section of the ad. So we will avoid having to search for additional informations, yeah? So this saves time and ensures accuracy instead of us having to manually research and input company details. The AI can automatically include relevant information about the inverter's background, values, work environment. And the same principle applies when writing any content, whether it is report, presentation, or marketing materials. Providing specific context helps the AI generate more accurate and relevant content. So let's take a look how it goes. As we can see, the About Us section has indeed been filled with more targeted information, and the job posting itself has become much more structured, but still, that is not enough. We can make our prompt even more advanced. So the second step is specifying tasks and refining expectations. What do you want it to do? You have to remember that artificial intelligence doesn't know you, yeah, and doesn't know your situation at all. So the more clearly and precisely you formulate a task, the more effectively it can act. So stating expectations helps it to do the job more efficiently, saving you time on revisions and of course ensuring you get exactly what you need in the first time. So for example, we can write, prepare an ad with concise content, including 3 to 5 requirements. Mention that a specialist must have experience using Atlassian production tools and expected salary is from 35 to 35 net. Yeah? So specifying additional tasks, prepare an ad with concise content. Yeah? That's it. Then we are going to define expectations. 3 to 5 requirements. Specialists must have experience, blah, 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 blah. Salary is from 35 to 55 net. So let's see what a result we get this time. Here we go. We see that the job posting has become much more aligned with our organization's expectation. Up to 5 requirements for the candidate are listed. Hands-on experience with Atlassian tools are here. The salary is specified. Information about the Invertus organization itself is included. So we have a result that will need far fewer corrections than in the first case. However, if you feel that the result is not exactly what you expected, yeah, we can solve it with a fourth additional aspect. So the fourth important aspect to remember is to clarify and ask for examples. If you have a specific project you want to assign to it, if you have a specific instructions you want to give it, then examples are what help it to understand what you expect from it. To do this well, we have several paths. First, we can simply ask for several versions to be shared. Yeah, having several versions, we can choose the one is closest to the goal and continue forming queries. So here we go. As we can see, we have a 3 versions. Maybe the first one we got doesn't satisfy us. Maybe something is missing in the second one, but the third one turned out quite good. This technique will help us not to be disappointed in the LLMs because I often hear from training participants, oh, I tried to write a prompt, but the result wasn't good. Often this is due to not using prompt engineering techniques, but sometimes even when applying best practices, the result can still be poor. For example, I'm going to tell you a funny story. Last December, people saw that ChatGPT became slow and its answers got much worse. And we know that large language models were trained on information from books, the internet, articles, and so on. So it learned that people work less in December and started to be lazier itself. So if you had written a very good prompt in December, you likely would have gotten a poor result. So asking for more versions encourages LLMs to think more actively. And it's likely that one of the versions will be acceptable to you, I think so. Also, an extra trick. If you feel that your prompt is really good, but you're getting like a so-so results. So the trick is to write the text in capital letters, yeah, because studies show that this encourages LLMs to work more responsibly and provide a better result. But let's come back a little bit. we can also rely on another strategy. We know that most organizations that post job ads on job posting platforms have their brand books, templates, yeah, that clearly describe the rules of how to post ads. So just take and upload a good ad or a good example you've had before, and the LLM will know what you want from it. So 2 or 3 minutes and the job is done. Let's take a look. So in this case, we upload an example and see that here we go. That generated text is completely based on my provided example. This is useful because when we provide a version that is acceptable to us, AI will best understand what we want from it. It's like showing someone a sample of work you like rather than just describing it. So when the AI sees a concrete example of your preferred style, format, or approach, it can more accurately match that in its output. Okay, so let's move on to another prompt engineering technique. If you're using large language models for creating coherent text, then alongside very clear prompts that describe the situation, context, it is worth including a bit of yourself. How can you do this? Let's take a look. So the first thing is personalization. Mention who you are, or use the more common term in prompt engineering, act as or imagine. For example, imagine you are the head of the organization and you will deliver a presentation to your team about teamwork. Prepare the presentation. So by mentioning your role, the AI will behave as the character you described. In this case, the generated text would sound much more like hello, dear colleagues, it is great to see you, and etc., and so on and so on. So the speech will be prepared as the CEO's address to their team, really organic and natural. So this approach works well for various situations. You could say, act as a marketing specialist, writing a product description. Yeah. Imagine you are a teacher explaining this concept to a 10 years old. And AI will adjust its tone, vocabulary, and style to match that specific role, and of course create more authentic, purpose-driven content. So let's take a look. This time I'm using Anthropic Claude. And as you can see, all the text and agenda are generated from the manager's perspective. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today. As your leader, okay, this maybe sounds a little bit directive. I would definitely adjust this part because then colleagues, when you read it, they think I am being arrogant. Yeah, but aside from certain parts that need adjusting, we got a personalized text. At the same time, we want the AI to provide fairly good arguments because when presenting arguments, artificial intelligence tends to flatter users. This is important, flatter users, and often gives prettier answers than necessary. So it is kind of useful to write that it should reveal not only the positive, but also the negative sides of the topic, because we know that listeners don't like when everything is just about flowers and unicorns. We also want the uncomfortable truth that every topic has. So we can tell it, supplement your presentation with arguments describing the pros and cons of teamwork. Here we go. Here, so now we have the pros, innovation and creativity, risk management, learning and development, challenge of teamwork. Here, cons, performance issues, interpersonal challenges, resource management, and so on. Yeah, so this makes the text more convincing and reflects both the comfortable and uncomfortable side of the topic. Also, if we want artificial intelligence to do more just a random work, we want to insert what we know into the query because we are the experts, yeah? Uh, Without inserting personal knowledge, the text will be inorganic, unnatural. So, if you are reading the presentation to your team that was created only by AI, I think that they might think you had a stroke because you don't talk like that, yeah? So be sure to include your own knowledge, maybe phrases you use, jokes or other things, maybe your texts. It doesn't matter what, just put a little bit of yourself. So in this case, we want to provide these arguments. This is my knowledge. Add to your presentation the argument that group work allows team members to help each other, but at the same time, it must be carefully planned. And here, the text now reflects our knowledge, yeah? We have a synergy between artificial intelligence and a human, achieving like a combined result. The AI brings a vast database of information, of course, and language patterns, while we bring our personal experience, expertise, understanding of context. So when we combine these elements, the AI's processing power, yeah, with our human touch, we create content that's both technically accurate and personally meaningful. So, for example, when the AI writes as the CEOs based on our prompt, it uses proper business language, structure, but the specific insights and approach come from our direction. So I think that this partnership allows us to create better, more authentic content that either could produce alone. So magical. Okay, so there's another more advanced technique we can use, which, according to scientific research, helps artificial intelligence work more effectively. This is a bit more complex, but we can ask artificial intelligence to think step by step. Remember, artificial intelligence is just trying to guess the next word in a sequence of words, yeah? And asking it to think step by step allows it to create content that you can then review and develop. So I think that now we give it steps to follow. So this step-to-step thinking sometimes is called chain of thoughts thinking and is useful way to make artificial intelligence stay on the task. Also, it allows us to check the result to make sure everything is good. So let's take a look. Oh, but first of all, you need to remember this phrase. Create a paragraph outline, improve the outline, write the paragraph. This is the phrase you should use. And here is the result. So as you can see, by using step-by-step prompting, we got a much more structured and detailed response. The AI didn't just give us a quick answer, yeah? It walked through the problem systematically, making its thinking process clear and allowing us to check each step. So this method is particularly useful when dealing with the complex tasks or when accuracy is crucial. It's like having a colleague who explain their thought process instead of just showing the final result. And remember, you can always ask the AI to explain any step in a more detailed or adjusted approach if needed. Yeah. So this is one of the most powerful techniques in prompt engineering, which help us to get most value from AI tools. So I spent quite a lot of time sharing how to create a quality prompt. However, I want to intrigue you a bit. This is not actually the best way. Don't get me wrong. It is very necessary, essential, like the quality foundation for a house, but not the best way. Why? Because just as a house needs a strong foundation, but also requires walls, windows, and a roof to be complete, yeah? So our interactions with AI needs more than just a good prompt. You probably thought, so how then we can get the best result? What we want to interact with AI, to communicate interactively. Instead of just giving like a one-off instructions, the real power comes from engaging in a back and forth conversation, back and forth, asking for follow-up questions, refining responses based on what we receive. So this dynamic interactions, they allow us to get much more precise and valuable result from AI tools. So how to do this? Now I will reduce the intrigue and make you feel much better. The answer is very, very simple. You just need to challenge, invite rewrites, ask for clarifications. Long story short, communicate interactively. So this approach transforms your interaction with AI from a simple question and answer session into dynamic conversation. And this is where the magic really happens. Just like a conversation with a colleague or mentor, yeah? The best result often come from ongoing dialogue and refinement, yeah? So I think that, for example, you just can ask, I like the second point. Can you expand it? You can ask for edits. I didn't like the example you used in this paragraph. Can you change it? You can ask for more examples to be provided or request the more of your thoughts to be included. So if you use advanced prompting and complete the initial and final result, you'll see that you are guiding the AI, you are in charge, and you set a direction which significantly improves the quality of the text. Of course, sometimes they may get stuck in a loop. You might need to clear the memory and start over, and that is completely normal. You should feel comfortable with the idea that your request may not work and that you may need to try again. So each time you make a request to the AI, you will get different result. Therefore, you need to take initiative. Be patient until the result will satisfy you. And we know that all these systems have randomness algorithms built in. So when you make a request, you can receive vastly different results from different systems at different times. Of course, this can confidently used to critically evaluate the content provided. And this brings us back to the importance of experience. It's not magic. There is no magic at all. It's just about the practice. Everything is about testing the AI for the purpose you want to use it. And it is important to imagine AI as a person. When a colleague comes to you with a question, yeah, you answer, but you can see from their expressions that they didn't understand anything. What do you do then? You explain it again in a different words. The same applies here. You need to try explaining it again. So try, and try again. And you should do that because in research field, we have a lot of evidence that AI is useful. So here we can see it was stated that AI helps save time. Also, AI helps to reduce human bias. AI helps find better solution for task completion. And AI helps save money. This is a good line. So I hope that after today's session, the AI world has become a bit clearer. Oh my God, my tongue, I'm sorry for that. So I also hope I managed to motivate you not to give up if the result you get isn't satisfying, but to try again and again until we achieve the desired result. So here we reach the end. It was very interesting to be with you today, to know that we have a wonderful tech curious people gathered all around Europe. And I think that this is not the end. We'll meet again very soon, if I'm not mistaken, on October 31st during office hours, I think so. So thank you, everyone, and I guess see you soon.
Thank you, Ieva. The presentation was wonderful. I myself will watch the recording again to not to miss anything you have mentioned in here, because so many great tips and so many useful information that we can use every day in our lives. And speaking of recording, it will be uploaded to the teaching platform tomorrow morning, so you will be able to rewatch it again as well. And as Ieva mentioned, we will meet soon with Ieva in the office hour session this Thursday. It will be a slightly different format where you will be able to discuss with Ieva as well. And in order to have it very nice and structured, we want to ask you to submit your questions in advance. You can do that in the teaching platform under this section or under the office hours section. So don't forget to upload your questions there, and also you can move on to the practical task stage. So if you have any questions about the practical tasks, you can also submit them to the comments as well. So thank you again to Ieva. Thank you for everyone joining this workshop. It was really interesting and very insightful. And I wish everyone a nice evening. Have a good rest.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.